Sai Ram to all our audience who are watching this webinar live. I am Sandeep, an alumnus of Sri Sathya Sai Lokaseva Gurukulam group of institution. I joined this institution in 8th grade and completed my pre-university here. The institution recognized my interest in civil engineering and sponsored my entire engineering education. I graduated in civil engineering in 2020-23. Right now, I am doing my internship in projects and infrastructure department of this institution. Being an engineer myself and my father running a small electrical and plumbing hardware shop, I understand the importance of skilled workforce and how invaluable it is to help the society function efficiently and smoothly. Can you imagine a day in modern day life when we do not have an electrician, a plumber or a mechanic available with just one call? But not all of us may need them on all days, but they are like ever-ready angels who come to our rescue on any given day. Hence, as a society, we need to ensure that we have a well-equipped workforce with up-to-date skills. With that introduction, I welcome each and every one of you who has joined us today for the 4th episode of Education for Transformation webinar series. This episode focuses on the Skill Development Center of Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. We would now like to take this opportunity to share with you the lofty vision, unique features and invaluable opportunities that our Skill Development Center offers, even in its 2nd year of existence. On our panel today, we have with us Mr. Satyanarayan Kumar, the Director of the Center, Mr. Keshavnath, the Assistant Director of the Center, and Mr. R.N. Rajiv Reddy, the Student Coordinator. All of them have many decades of experience in industry. Before we dive into our panel discussion, let's watch a brief video that introduces the Skill Development Center. After that, we will hear more from our panelists. After the panel discussion, we will answer any questions you have. Please post them using the Q&A option. May we have the new video, please?
Skills Development Center, which opened, is just another chapter to provide an opportunity to the students who are interested in those skills.
All students may not be well suited for academics and may not do well in regular school. So there would be students who have other talents and skills who should be also given a chance to succeed. For example, somebody may be very skilled with their hands. They should be given a chance, an opportunity to express themselves differently in non-academic things like carpentry, like an electrician or a plumber or something like this. But even more importantly, we should also offer them a guaranteed employment opportunity because that really is what will make their life and give them an assured livelihood. Fortunately, we already had such opportunities in plenty in-house itself, especially with the exploding number of projects and various kinds of educational institutions, hospitals, ashrams and what have you that are happening in this organization. There is so much repair and maintenance that is needed to be done, for which we really do not get any qualified personnel. So what better than like the university started to be able to give us our own teachers, here was another brick in that building, so to say, where we could also teach our own children some skills and deploy them in our various institutions. So in this way, it's a very holistic program.
This course is more of a practical oriented. It's about 80% practical and 20% of theory. So they flower up very nicely in this course, and because they do very well in practicals. This course is basically for 2 years. After 2 years, 1 year they'll be doing the internship at different campuses, and after completing 1 year internship, they will be offered a job in our Gurukulam itself.
The desperate requirement we had was for electricians and plumbers, especially in our far-flung rural institutions. They are very related trades, and if we only train the children in one trade, then you lose the holistic picture. Because, for example, if you take a very simple equipment like a water pump, which is there in almost every place, every household in fact, there are two parts of it, one the plumbing part and the other is the electrical part. So we have to train our kids in both these kind of skills, so that there is only one person holistically taking care of that, and they've essentially become part of our repair and maintenance crew in each campus, and this is direly and sorely needed.
Unlike other skill centers, here I am learning 2 courses at a time, electrical technology and plumbing. By learning these 2 courses, we are more skilled and can do more variety of jobs.
Here we learnt about PPE, which is about safety, how to take care of ourselves while working in construction areas. We are also learning Paravidya.
These children learn the skills and the practical parts, while the others may be, doing the regular subjects like maths or science or humanities. But in addition, what they do, we have in common amongst these is that we teach them value-based education or spiritual education, and we also teach them basic English for what they need to converse with or communicate with their customers tomorrow. We also teach them some basic computers that they can at least know the basics and use that for simple things.
ನಾನು ಅಕ್ಷಯ್ ಅವ್ರ ತಾಯಿ. ಅವನೇನೂ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಬರಿತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವನೇನಾಗ್ತಾನೋ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ತುಂಬ ಚಿಂತೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು ನನಗೆ. ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿನೇ ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಬೇಜಾರಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯಾರೋ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ನನಗೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ SDC ಅನ್ನೋ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಮ್ಮ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಸೇರಿಸಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗೇ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅವ್ನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಭರವಸೆ ನನಗಿದೆ. ಕೆಲಸದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಅವ್ನು ಮಾಡೋವಂಥ ಉದ್ಯೋಗದ ಮೇಲೇನೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಭರವಸೆ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಥರ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನನ್ನ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
Fortunately, we had some very good collaboration with industry partners and so on, who helped us, frame the curriculum and even help us with some training. We also have a certification partner, and for that we have VTU, Vishwesvaraya Technology University, which is a very well-known name in Karnataka engineering education. So they co-certify our 2-year course, which is also instituted under the University for Human Excellence.
Asthitasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadamyaham. Whichever is your area of interest of study, whichever is the path that you think you should follow because you love that, as an institution we will make every effort to provide you with that opportunity so that you can excel, you can shine, and you will attain that perfection. Yogaha karmasu kaushalam.
Wow, what a great initiative. Sathya sir, how did the Skill Development Center begin and what prompted the need for such an initiative?
Thank you, Sandeep. Let's begin with the whys first. We all know the dire situation that we are facing in society today as far as skilled manpower goes. Be it fixing a simple tap which is leaking, or a tube light, which needs to be replaced. I mean, forget even more complicated things like trying to fix a water pump or a diesel generator. None of us really have the skills required to do these jobs. They actually take a significant amount of skill. Unfortunately, while that is the truth, when we look at the needs and expectations, India still faces a very severe shortage of skilled workers. We have a demand for about 103 million skilled workers, while on the sourcing side or the supply side, we have only about 74 million. And you can imagine what a huge gap that is in this sector. While that's the larger picture, let's also look at the context within our own institutions. We run our own Gurukulams and the university as well, where we provide regular education starting from grade 6 right up to doctoral studies. Our primary focus is on rural children. Many of these children come from very difficult socially and economically disadvantaged backgrounds, and many of them are even first time learners, which means forget their parents and grandparents going to a school. They have probably not even seen a school. So such are the learners we bring into our system. Although they may have studied up to about grade 5, outside in either government or private schools, when they come in here, we realize that these children, they have abysmally low learning levels. They really need to be coached, mentored, and we need to handhold them quite a lot. So, of course, thanks to the encouraging environment, the loving care, the world-class infrastructure, and the state-of-the-art facilities that we have in our Gurukulams, many of these children are able to cope with that regular system of education, and they are able to really blossom into holistic individuals. But having said that, we must remember there is that class of children who are simply not able to, cope with conventional or rhetoric learning, and they really struggle then. So the question is, by the time we realize this, they have already spent about 3 to 4 years in our Gurukulam, and it would be just a shame to let these children go back, into God knows what they will become in society. So this is really the sense of empathy and compassion that led us to conceptualize this skill development center. We said we need to do something for these children, and we started this skill development center, wherein first we observe what are the natural inclinations of these children, where they can really flower, blossom, become contributors to society. And so we examine them, and then we decide whether they can join the skill development program as long as they are found suitable for it.
That's a noble thought to embrace every child regardless of their weaknesses.
Yes.
Isn't it, Keshavnath sir?
Yes, Sandeep. It's almost like turning their weaknesses into their strength. Almost all of us would have heard the story of Thomas Alva Edison. When his school expelled him because of his poor academic performance, his mother decided to teach him at home. She was very sure of his abilities, and so she encouraged and motivated him to be his own self. Because of her unshaken belief in him, Edison went on to become a great scientist and inventor. For instance, his fascination for chemical experiments led him to invent the first incandescent light bulb despite several challenges. Our approach towards the students of Skill Development Center is much the same. We wish to identify the potential for learning the relevant skills. Further, we want to motivate them to explore and innovate in their respective fields. This is our constant lookout. We firmly believe that no student should be undervalued or underestimated.
That's a wonderful thought, Keshavnath sir. Brother Aryan, as the student coordinator, what are your thoughts on how this opportunity is impacting and transforming the students?
As Keshavnath sir pointed out, the potential of every student is immense, and all they need is right orientation and more motivation. For instance, one of our student, Akash, he wanted to work with audio video team. After volunteering for few months, he was able to learn how to connect speakers, operate sound mixer. Now, he handles all the audio video requirements of Skill Development Center events. I'm really amazed how quickly these students can pick up these skills, whereas if you look at their academic subjects, they find it tough when learning maths or history.
Amazing. When I listen to all of you, I am reminded of the 8-year-old boy Ishan in the movie Tare Zameen Par, who blossomed when his artistic talents were recognized and encouraged. How can we restrict education to just bookish learning and earning degrees? Sometimes it is absolutely fine to take a different path. Satya sir, could you please touch upon what is happening in the country in the area of skill development?
Sure, Sandeep. Actually, there's a lot happening in this area, especially of late. The Central Ministry for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship is looking actually to make India the skill capital of the world. With one of the youngest populations in the world, India is ideally positioned to realize its demographic dividend, as it is called. But this can be done only through a workforce which has employable skills and is obviously industry ready. Apart from that, the Skill India mission has taken many steps to implement skill development activities on a pan-India basis. Thus, everyone recognizes the importance of channelizing India's youthful workforce to enhance productivity and employability and assure our youth a sustainable livelihood. However, I must throw a note of caution here. While all these efforts are being made, there are also some serious impediments which we have to consider. It should be noted that India's youth unemployment rate for 23-24 is as high as 10.2%. Another negative factor is the dropout rate of students from secondary schools. More than 12.6% of students drop out even after grade 8 for various reasons. So here we see the balance which we have to strike between what we do and what we can assure in terms of livelihood, Sandeep.
Keshavnath sir, would you like to add?
Yes. Dropouts from the secondary schools and unemployed youth, both of these metrics are definitely of a great concern for us. This is the reason why we have decided to admit students to our skill development center who have attended the grade 8 irrespective of whether they have passed or failed. They only need to be 15 years of age or above so that they are aligned with the labor laws of the country when we offer them employment. We understand that there is an acute need to give these teenagers an opportunity to pursue different paths and make them recognized and useful servitors of the society. Aryan, would you like to add?
Definitely, sir. As you mentioned, teenage is the most crucial phase for youth, and engaging them at this vulnerable time with right activities and curriculum is extremely important. The added advantage for the boys studying at our center is they are not just provided with the skills that empower them, but also with the values that shall become their guiding principles. For example, one of our students, Hanmanlu, he had faced a lot of hardships. He had lost his father at the age of 5, who was the sole breadwinner of the family, and he had 2 younger siblings. His mother had to find a job and feed the family and take care of their educational needs. With lot of difficulty, Hanmanlu was able to get into a lot of government schools and hostels and complete his pre-university. Unfortunately, he couldn't get through any professional courses. You can imagine the uncertainties these youth face. That's why at our skill development center, we take care of all their needs, be it daily requirements, medical needs, or even holiday travel to their homes. Everything is taken care. That way, these students can focus only on learning.
It's truly a blessing for the parents of these students as well. They no longer need to worry about any of their needs. Brother Aryan, what about their extracurricular and recreational activities?
Just like any other college or a school, our students participate in sports, cultural, and quiz events. They also go on trekking to surrounding hills, be it Nandi Hills, Kandagiri, or Chandragiri. They are also exposed to music and learning musical instruments, be it tabla, harmonium, or dolak. They also get to participate in community service activities in nearby villages.
That sounds very interesting, brother. Is that what differentiates our center from any other regular ones, or is there anything more?
As an institution, we stand for upholding ancient Indian ethos of Gurukulam way of living and learning. Here, all students, irrespective of their family backgrounds and status, are treated in an equitable manner. Just like our regular curriculums, Skill Development Center is strictly residential program and we follows the same schedule and discipline. Here, for students, everything is given free of cost, be it joining kit, uniforms, toiletries, mattresses or shoes. That way, students also live along with the teachers in the hostel and follow standard curriculum routine. They wake up early in the morning at 4:30 a.m., attend morning prayers, yoga, skill-related classes, games, and then evening prayers. Every night, there is a time allocated for teaching them spiritual lessons and moral values through stories from Panchatantra, Hitopadesha, and Jataka tales. We also draw inspiration from the lives of freedom fighters and other role models. Sathya sir, would you like to add?
Thanks, Aryan. You really touched upon the most important and unique features of our institution. As explained by Aryan, we follow a human-making education model. What that means is, along with the academics and training that we impart to these students, we also teach them the values of love, compassion, and service, which we think are perhaps even more important factors. In today's world, people do so many things on a daily basis, and when you ask them what they do, they tell you, yeah, we are studying or we are earning, we are feeding our families, we are trying to amass our wealth and possessions, etc., etc., etc. But there is one common thread amongst all those people. They all tell you that despite all our achievements, we still have a lot of stress and dissatisfaction. And this is the typical world that we see there today. And when we think about what is the reason for this, I think the truth stares us starkly in the face. It is simply because people do what they do without knowing why they do it. I mean, day in, day out, we are becoming like robots and, doing activities like a mechanical, clock or something like that. But not for a moment are we pausing to think, why are we doing all these things? Perhaps the answer lies in that. Apart from this, in society, some jobs are unfortunately treated in a very lowly and infra-dig manner. In spite of the grueling work that they entail, and also that they take intense efforts to complete. Sadly, vocational skills fall in that kind of a category. So, although they are hygiene factors which are most critically needed in society, they do not get the dignity of labor that they really deserve. So, for us as an institution, it is extremely important to instill the right understanding in our students, especially our skill development center students, and we teach them that no job is big or small. And we inculcate in them a sense of high self-esteem, dignity and pride, so that they can perform all their tasks in a perfect manner and become useful contributors to society.
Thank you, Sathya sir. The passion with which you are stating these facts is truly inspiring. A gentle reminder to our audience to post any questions you have using the Q&A options. Now, if I may ask Keshavnath sir, sir, can you please tell us about the courses and curriculum followed at the center?
Certainly, our program is specially designed for the rural youth so that they may learn the vocational skills which are highly in demand. Currently, the center offers a 2-year residential certificate course, one in flow piping or extended plumbing, and the second one is in electrical technology. All the students learn both these trades since the applications are closely interconnected. More than 80% of the curriculum is practically hands-on training and less than 20% of it is theory, and that too only what is absolutely needed. We also provide the students exposure to various ongoing projects in our campuses so that they get experience of live situations. In addition, our students also given training in basic English communication, computers and value education. After the 2-year course, the students undergo an intensive 1-year internship program to gain on-the-job expertise. Thereafter, they are assured gainful employment in our own institutions. Our current intake is a maximum of 15 students per year. Roughly 50% are from our own Gurukulam and other 50% are selected from the general public. Our motto is that no child should be left behind. To fulfill this objective, we offer the course completely free of charge. Thus, we remove the affordability factor from the education equation.
That's truly noble, Keshwanath sir. Now, what kind of practical exposures do we give the students?
As you realize, our first batch will be entering the internship phase in the second half of 2025. But to their credit, our students have been very active and willing learners. Even while they are still doing their course, they have seized every opportunity to practice and hone their skills. One example is, after the micro irrigation course, they did a project of setting up lawn sprinklers in various parts of our campus. Another instance is, they worked on the plumbing and electrical aspects of the washrooms that were built in our Goshala, that is cow shed. In all cases, they have earned the praise and admiration of their customers. This has boosted their self-confidence in a big way.
Sounds very comprehensive, Keshwanath sir. Satya sir, can you please share more details about the program structure?
Definitely, Sandeep. I think our program structure is really a very significant part of our whole program, and I would like to touch upon two particular aspects here. One is, like Keshwanath sir explained, we have a course that stretches for 3 years, where 2 years is the certificate program, and then we have a year of internship which our children do. So a 3-year program, which is pretty long considering many other institutions, because especially in the unorganized space, the other skill training centers typically offer courses which go on for about 3 to 6 months at the maximum. So that is one aspect. The other aspect I would like to talk about is that, unlike us who give a job assurance at the end of the course, most of these other institutions do not give any job guarantee after course completion. Unless, of course, they are special industry incubated training courses, wherein, of course, the industry is doing it because they want to absorb all the people that they are training. So essentially, students are left to fend for themselves, and in most cases, they end up not finding any placement at all, which is a really tragic thing. This story, I mean, we have talked about the unorganized space. Now, if we look at the organized sector as well, the story is not very different, even with formal education provided by our ITIs, the industrial training institutes, and also the diploma colleges, especially in the rural areas. As a matter of fact, I want to point out a few cases in our skill development program, wherein there are students who had actually completed such courses, formal education courses even, but hadn't found any jobs for an extended period of time. As soon as they saw that we are opening a skill program here and offering them assured employment, they immediately applied to our courses. There is another class of students who are perhaps in the midst of some such skill programs outside, but for various reasons they could not continue, either for the simple reason that their parents did not have enough money to pay the fees perhaps for the next year, or they were already feeling that at the end of that course there is really no job waiting for them. So all these children as well, as soon as they saw us advertise our skill development program, they immediately applied to join to our courses. So, I want to emphasize that this aspect of employment assurance in our program makes it all the more meaningful and appealing, especially to our rural youth who are otherwise left high and dry.
That is very reassuring for the rural youth of our country, Satya sir. Keshwanath sir, could you also share some information about the staff who are training these students?
Well, that's an interesting story. In general, it's a big challenge to find qualified and competent trainers in the skill development field, which is largely unorganized. It is all the more challenging for us to recruit our trainers, especially since our center is located in a rural area. However, after a lot of search, we were fortunate to source a combination of qualified local talent coupled with some experienced trainers from industrial training institutes. We currently have 4 trainers, 2 for flow piping and 2 for electrical technologies. They have a very good understanding of the technical content as well as how to get down to the level of our young rural students and coach them. The hostel side is handled by our university interns who are ably led by Brother Aryan. And how can we forget our dear Panduranga sir, a highly experienced and seasoned professional who has been with us every step of the journey, doing what it takes to keep us moving along.
Wow, a completely free of charge residential course along with the practical exposure, internship and employment. These are indeed a rare combo. Satya sir, post training, where will the students be placed for their employment?
I think that's a very thoughtful question, Sandeep, especially after I spoke so much about this job assurance topic. Overall, our institutions are an ever-growing family that educate, feed, treat and heal millions of people. We have today counting 28 educational campuses currently functioning, along with a free medical college and a network of 12 hospitals across India, all of which give services free of charge. Hence, in the current initial or nascent stage of our skill development program, we are looking at placing all our students in the repair and maintenance departments of our own campuses. And you can imagine there is a dire need for skilled manpower in all these campuses because they are located really in the deep rural hinterlands of India. Having said that, I also want to mention that we do have a greater vision for the future, which is to enroll a far larger number of students from all over the country, train them at no charge whatsoever, and transform them into contributing members of society at large. This is what we want to finally also contribute to society than just placing our people in our own institutions. And of course, how soon can we do this? Well, that depends on how much support we get from our benefactors and donors.
Keshavnath sir, would you like to add?
Absolutely. We really need that support. As an institution, we believe in the tripod of Sarkar, that is government, Samaj, that is society, and Sanstha, that is organization, that have to come together to solve the problems of the world. One sector that clearly needs help and empowerment is the youth. As our revered founder Sri Madhusudan Sai puts it, it's enabling the survival of the weakest in society and not the fittest that denotes true concern and culture in mankind. For this reason, we have partnered with renowned Visvesvaraya Technological University VTU Karnataka to co-certify our course, while this ensures that our course content is sound and robust. It also adds to the value of and reputation to our certificate. We also have prestigious industrial partners for each trade. Our trading partners for flow piping technology are Messrs. Gyananda Institute of Flow Piping Technology, Pune. They have a rich experience of more than a decade in the flow piping domain. They have set up acclaimed plumbing schools in multiple industries and training institutes. Our training partner for electrical technologies are Messrs. Bosch Limited, Bangalore. This well-known German giant have extensive experience of many decades in setting up of various artisans centers and vocational training centers all over India. Apart from this, we are grateful to many individuals and organizations such as NTT of Bangalore, MCET and NPTC Pollachi, SRATI Coimbatore and Bhaktavachalam Polytechnic College, Kanchipuram, to name a few, who have provided us invaluable advice and support at crucial phases of our planning and implementation. These collaborations ensure that we keep our standards at the cutting edge of the technology and that we remain relevant.
Thank you for the information you have shared, sir. Brother Aryan, we would love to hear some of your experiences on living with the students and observing them from close quarters, and how has their journey been and how has your personal journey been?
Absolutely, it's an interesting journey, Sandeep. With the kind of students we admit at our Skill Development Center, working on their self-esteem and goals is very important for us. We encourage them to inculcate good values and motivate them to practice. After graduating from the course, they would show good work ethic in professional life. And these youth will draw inspiration from our students. To give an example, Shankar, who is studying in second year, lost his mother due to kidney failure. He was just studying in grade 1 then, and his father passed away when he was studying in grade 6. His relatives brought him up and he was studying in a government school. Our Annapurna Trust started morning nutrition program in those government schools. He was encouraged by the trust to join one of our institutions, and his cousin was provided job with the trust. After studying for a while, he realized that his strengths were not aligned to regular education. He was not sure what future held for him. Yet, he wanted to continue with the institute. That's when he heard about the newly started certificate course at our Skill Development Center. He joined the course with clear intention of giving it back to the society. This is the kind of impact we would like to bring in the students. Another case is Akash Gowda, a second year student whose father is a weaver, and he was finding it tough to support his family, and he had been through a lot of hardships in life. He didn't want his son to face the same uncertainties. He was looking for an institute where his son could pick up a skill set in a very safe environment. That's when they came across our center and decided to enroll him, thinking that this would be the best place for their son to blossom professionally and imbibe holistic, value-based education.
Wow, these are deeply heart-touching stories, Brother Aryan. It has truly been an incredible journey so far for all of you. Satya sir, what is our vision for the future?
What shall I say, Sandeep? The future really looks truly bright and glorious. We sincerely feel we are only at the beginning of a 1,000-mile long journey. We feel that we have just taken the initial baby steps, and we eagerly look forward to active support and patronage from our various partners and other like-minded organizations as well. These can come either from the governmental sector, both the state government and the central government, or it could be corporates or individuals from society. It is their participation, involvement and knowledge sharing that will help us expedite building the next generation of skilled manpower in the country. It will also help our institution push the envelope in terms of being a role model that offers free of charge skill education to the needy rural youth of India. But let's not forget, although all of this is offered free to our beneficiaries, it entails a significant cost for us as an institution to invest in the initiatives and implement them seamlessly. And that's where all our benefactors, patrons and donors come in. Needless to mention, it's on such large-hearted and altruistic gestures that the Indian youth, especially the Indian rural youth, depend for their future employment and well-being. This will inspire and enable them to become noble, able and stable servants of society as also deservedly proud citizens of young India.
Satya sir, can you also share with the audience the investment that the institution make per student?
Sure, Sandeep. So we spend about 150,000 Indian rupees per student per annum. That comes to roughly about US dollars 2,000 per student per annum. So as you see in the view graph which we have shown at the bottom, so on the left side of that graph you see what we spend on the labs and the workshop side of things, and on the right side you see what we spend on the hostel side of things, because as mentioned we are a strictly residential program following the Gurukulam mode. So let me just quickly lead you through the left side first. So in the lab side, we have obviously the faculty and training costs, including staff salaries that we have to pay, which come to something like about 60,000 Indian rupees. Then comes the books, the training manuals, the tools and the consumables, not to forget also maintenance for even the one-time machinery that we install. That comes roughly to about 25,000 per student per annum Indian rupees. When I come to the right side, obviously since we are a residential program, we have the food and accommodation cost, which comes to roughly 40,000 rupees per student per annum. And not to forget, this is not just food we give, these are really nutritious meals, 4 meals a day, 4 complete meals a day, in addition to which we also provide 2 snacks for our growing children. And finally, I come to the final part of clothing and uniforms that we have to provide them, as well as personal expenses like Aryan told in the beginning, the joining kit and the toiletries and everything is provided free here, and that comes to about 25,000 Indian rupees per student per annum. So all in all, we are really expecting these children simply to land up at our doorstep with just the clothes that they are wearing, and everything from pin to plain is really given by the institution. And this is really such a sacred model we have. Going one step further, we would like to also show you this about where you can contribute. Any of our well-wishers, benefactors, patrons, who are citizens of India can donate to any of the 2 trusts which are shown here. Each one, Educate One, is the first trust, and the website is shown. And then we have our Prashanti Balamandir Trust, which is our holding trust. So these are where Indian citizens can donate or contribute. Similarly, we have the for various regions in the world, we have various websites which is shown now on your screen, where depending upon where you are living in the world, you can put your contributions through these websites. We really look forward that many of you would come forward in this noble journey, which would really give this kind of employment assurance and a livelihood, a sustainable livelihood for our rural youth of India. Thanks.
Thank you, Satya sir. We hope this webinar has provided you a comprehensive overview about the Skill Development Center of Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. Let us continue to collaborate and appreciate the human potential and skill, so that we may build a sustainable future for all. With this, we would now like to close the panel discussion portion of the today's webinar. We would now like to open the floor and invite any questions that our viewers may have.
Satya sir,
Yes, sir.
we have received a question which is regarding one of our infrastructure fundraising. Could you please elaborate on how do you manage the fundraising part of the service?
Well, like I said, all our funding basically comes. We are an NGO. We have no other form of earning. We really depend upon our donors and our contributors, our patrons, our benefactors. Like I said, they could come from the government sector, they could come from corporates, they could be individual donors. We have a mix of all these people, both in India and abroad, and we are extremely thankful to them. These are the people who keep us chugging along in all the grand plans that we make. And I think that's where we have the success thanks to them.
Okay. Continuing on that, there is another two questions I'll club it.
Okay.
How can related industries get connected to support? Another question is, can you elaborate on the infrastructure requirements of the Skill Development Center?
Okay, I'll probably take the first question first. Absolutely, any industry partner who would like to partner with us would be most welcome. In fact, I wanted to talk about the infrastructure part which you asked as well, because when I look at what we have right now, it's a pretty limited exercise that we have, simply because we either don't have the infrastructure done yet. So we even have land where we have already done a foundation for building a new skill development center, and this would cost us anywhere between about $1 million. That's about 8.5 crore rupees in the future, because with that we can expand our mission to skill development program mission to much more students than roughly the 30 odd that we have here, which itself comes to an OPEX of about 85 lakh rupees. That's about $100,000 per year as we have it now. So we would welcome any industry partner, especially in the plumbing and electrical area which we have. And if we get a larger space, we can definitely do distinct things where we have our own Gurukulam centered program, and then we can also support industry with what they want. So the possibilities are infinite, and the sky is the limit, literally.
Okay, thank you, sir. There is another question. Can children with special needs join the course? I think
you can take that, Aryan.
Sure, sir. So existing students can join us, whereas those with special needs would need a lot of care and help. This is where it becomes really tough for us, because we as an institute, we are small and we are just been in operation for the last 2 years. And for the special needs children, they would need a lot more care, help and guidance. Right now, we don't have that kind of infrastructure. That's why we are not able to accommodate them at this point of time. Moving on to the another question, it's on admission process. Keshanath sir, would you like to take this? From when and how do we come to know about the online application available for the academic year 24-25? Should the children admitted are only from the rural or from the urban also? What is the criteria for applying?
See, what we do is they can start approaching us from March or April, and we look for the students. We don't expect intelligent, very high scoring students. Basically, we look for students who know at least some basic, have some basic English knowledge, where they can at least read a paragraph or they can talk about themselves. That's all we see. And the first most important thing we look at it is they should have completed, they should be at least 15 years or above.
Okay, sir.
And we also look at their medical condition also, if they are fit enough, and we also ask for the medical certificate also, so before taking them. Okay. So as we said, it's a 2 years course, and after that there is 1 year internship course.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe I can also add that, of course, we advertise on our website, so people can keep an eye on that in around the February-March time frame. That's what we plan roughly. We start our the semester of the admissions, and we start our program roughly around June time frame. So around March or so, we normally advertise on our website, and people can apply directly from there.
Continuing on that, there is a last question. If the certificate of this course is recognized by the Government of India, would it help to get funds from the government?
Okay, there are a couple of things I want to mention here. We have not yet really gone for certification because this is really a very nascent stage. One other aspect we shouldn't forget is that this course is instituted under our university. So it's under the University for Human Excellence. Of course, government funds, I don't know if it's a necessity that we have to register under some a particular in a particular manner to get government funds, but we are indeed exploring that option. We know there are lots of schemes by the state government and the central government, but usually what happens is they talk of formal education side of things like ITIs and diploma colleges and other places. NSDC is there, of course, but at the moment we have not looked at certification and things like that, because we are still finding the ropes. We are getting the curriculum done. We still have 1 year to go even with the first batch. So we are taking it a bit slow in that to settle down, and then probably we will also look at all these aspects. Of course, they are welcome, whoever wants to support us, as long as there are not too many strings attached.
Okay. Thank you, Satya. So there is two more questions. Are the students exposed to various appliances in the piping and electrical circuits, or only about installation?
I think, Krishnath sir, you want to take that?
No, they are exposed to all the basic wiring and plumbing aspects, all basics.
Yes.
So we want them to handle all household things, all household plumbing aspects and all household wiring, and they will be basically placed at the maintenance department where they can handle all this.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I want to add to that, because since we have a pretty long duration program, we have a pretty comprehensive course. That's why we call it flow piping and not just plumbing, because we teach much more than normal plumbing. I mean, we have only 2 courses in basic plumbing and advanced plumbing, and we have 4 more courses which teach them much more things like, drip irrigation, solar water heaters, waste treatment plants and freshwater treatment plants. So we've really made it a very comprehensive course, and that's why we do it over 2 years. And not to forget what we already said in electrical as well, all the interconnected applications are taught. So if you build, let us say, a room or a washroom or something like that, both the plumbing and the electrical aspects have to be, our children have to be able to do all of that, and they're pretty much adept at it by the time we finish our course. So it's a pretty comprehensive course. Yes, we teach them a lot of appliances, as well as we even teach them things like in electrical, if I want to just elaborate a little bit, like earthing, diesel generator maintenance and stuff like this. So pretty much it will be comprehensive.
Okay.
Of course, they're still young kids. And they get this initial training. When they go to our repair and maintenance departments, we can't expect them to be experts, but I'm sure they will be very, very scientifically trained, which is something missing in our skill industry today, and standards wise and so on. Our kids definitely, I think, will make the cut much better than anybody else.
Definitely understandable, sir.
Yeah.
There is 2 questions on like future plans. Are you planning to introduce other trades beyond flow piping and electrical? There is a dire need to have such centers at different places. Are you planning to have such centers at other places in near future?
Wow. Questions behind, like they say, which gnaw our heart all the time. Yes, definitely in the future, we don't want to spread ourselves too thin when we start. We wanted to make it simple, and as you would have seen right now, the training offered in our skill programs are only for boys. We definitely want to extend it also for girls, because we have women in our institution, in all our Gurukulams. Definitely, both of those we want to do. One is have larger batch sizes of what we already do on one hand, and also start other trades where we can, for example, we could start carpentry, we could start masonry and things. But like I said, we need to find our feet. We need to still develop what we have well enough, because this is already tough enough to do, and we want to increase those batch sizes that we can serve a larger community. And even our own institutions already need far more people, skilled manpower, to be able to do the repair and maintenance. Also, judging from the fact that we open at least 1 or 2 campuses every year. So, these are things we definitely have in the pipeline. Like I said before, how soon can we start depends on how the money flows in.
Okay, understandable, sir. Oh, we see more questions coming in.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Is it only for rural children? Are you planning to train girls too?
I think I partly answered that question. I won't say it's only for rural children. It's definitely focused on rural children. But we do not debar anybody that is found suitable, and very importantly has to have the interest. That child has to have really the interest in doing these things and not look at this as infra dig or, lowly, and not just the child, because they don't know much at that age perhaps. Their parents, I think, are the key decision makers. And like you heard one of the parents in the video, if they are large-hearted enough to allow their children to do what they love, and like Guruji was saying as well in that video, if you allow the children to blossom to do what they are passionate about, I'm sure they will break all limits and become successful entrepreneurs in their lives. So yes, definitely, we also want to start something for girls. It's a question of what is the need, and we need to look at that closely. We just don't want to start courses just because we want to start. Absolutely not. But we are going to look at what is the need for the organization, what is the need for society really, and then we definitely want to expand.
Okay. Well, looks like we've come to the end of the question and answer session. Over to you, Sandeep.
Okay. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Education for Transformation webinar series. Thank you all for joining us today. We will be back soon with more such episodes. Thank you and Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.